sincerely thank you all for being here. I know it's been a while since we've met. And so, it's good to see you all. We're still here, all of us. And, if we get started, I'll call the meeting to order. This is the City of Laredo Blue Ribbon Committee with, for people with disabilities meeting up for July 21st, 2021. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And the first thing I'd like you all to do is review and approve the minutes for June of 16, 2021. For the ones that are immediately to your right.
No, you were not here last meeting.
I was on the phone.
On the phone. I remember
Yeah,
that.
calling you,
From
just I
myself.
couldn't get through.
And Dr. Berthinger also was there.
Yes, I'm there.
So do any of you have any revisions or corrections that we need to make to the minutes?
No.
So I don't really have a correction. I just have a suggestion.
Yes.
On the top of the second page, the top paragraph, the second to the last sentence, Mrs. Sanchez thanked everyone that is participating as a partner. Partners talked about their experiences with SEAL. Perhaps parenthetically explain what SEAL is.
Oh, the seal.
It's a suggestion, it's not a correction.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
We use acronyms, Dr. Ruthinger.
For everything.
Special ed week, okay, acronyms as well. I was just thinking if anybody else, picked it up so that they know the work that you're doing.
Sure.
No, that's a good suggestion. No one here wanted to admit that they didn't know that seal meant, so. So who here knows what seal means?
Summer Erlander.
Because we're the masters of the acronyms.
Okay, thank you. So if there are no other recommendations, suggestions, I need someone to motion to approve the minutes for June 16.
I make a motion to approve.
I have a second.
I second.
I have a second as well. Okay. So with that done, let's move on to, any public comments? No one signed up?
No public comments, yeah, nobody's in. Oh, I have a question for that. Are the student hireability navigator, Ms. Pat, she asked if she could already begin coming in. She didn't know there was like due to COVID that it's just us right now, or if she could begin being invited, or if she could just come and kind of give her report, since she's also gonna be going back to the schools, to of course, talk about her program.
We didn't really get any guidance in terms, they are considered open meetings, right, open to the public and open to the media. However, they didn't really relay that in the last meeting that we had. They did just, specify that they wanted the members present, but we can reach out to city secretary and see what the guidance is for that.
Okay, Because
So,
she was
and then-
wondering about that, and I said I could forward you once we get the invites for the meeting, but let me just ask, just in case.
Yes, and I mean, things are rapidly changing, right, on a day-to-day basis, so, I'll also, report that to, Mr. Chamberlain,
Okay.
who unfortunately couldn't attend. They reinstituted media briefings which conflict with his time, but, he will try to sneak in for a little bit, but he is, preoccupied with that at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. We can move on to item 4, which is discussion possible action, the next step or the next items. Report from Christine Reyes on excuse me, special needs program, no tengo nada.
Good morning, everyone. Our program has registered 23 new clients from the month of June to now. We're assisting these new families with emergency preparedness resources, emergency funding resources, and providing them with back-to-school resources. Each bag includes a sensory bag and offers the caregiver information on caring for the caregiver. Majority of these new client referrals were from our caregiver burnout educational videos. That was a 4-part series that was shared on our Facebook social media page. The caregiver burnout series offered educational information on signs and symptoms, tips, and resources for burnout. Our program completed a FEMA emergency preparedness resource request. Our program will be able to provide each family from our previous clients to our new clients with emergency preparedness information throughout the year. The information includes flooding, thunderstorms, power outages, extreme heat, and more additional resources to assist families to make an emergency plan. We attended a 2021 Texas Fatherhood Summit. This was a taking research to the field summit. This annual Texas Fatherhood Summit is hosted by the Child and Family Research Partnership at the University of Texas, Department of Family and Protective Services Prevention and Early Intervention Division. The summit brought together hundreds of public and private sector professionals from across the state to learn about research-based best practices and guidance to best support families. It was, I personally attended the summit virtually. I really took a lot of information and educational resources to help assist caregivers that are father representatives. The information that was given to us by the state, I'm hoping to later on propose a fatherhood caregiver workshop and webinar in the future. It was really great. I really enjoyed it.
Is this more like for foster care or is this for the actual biological father?
It could just be, again, it's a parental father that is a representative at home. So in other words, if a child is adopted, it could also include that father that's the adoptive father, stepfather, or, you know. So it was a real great summit because what they had mentioned in some of the facts is that typically when it comes to caregivers, sometimes they invoke the nurturing part of the mother and not so much of the father. So when the state decided to do this summit, they were mentioning resources and ways that we could start implementing workshops and webinars for fathers. It was real nice. I liked it. It was very educational. Our program virtually attended a summer safety injury prevention in infants and children webinar. Our state partner again from the Office of Disability Prevention for Children and other speakers were present. The educational topic of while summer is a time for outdoor fun and travel for many, injuries and deaths due to drowning, hot cars, falls, and other causes are all too frequent. The presenters did address these issues with the statistical information from the Texas Health and Human Services. Unfortunately, during that time when they were presenting, they did mention Webb County already having one drowning incident. And right after we were given all this information, I provided an educational video that included water safety guides and tips and resources. This information was specifically focused for caregivers and parents on water safety for children and young adults with special health care needs. Unfortunately, a little after that, we did have another local incident where an autistic child did have a drowning, a 4-year-old autistic child had an incident. So the state did recommend more educational information on this. So the information that I put out is on a weekly basis on water safety tips and guides. I'm looking into eventually, once the proposal is done, connecting with more community support groups to see what is the need as far as whether it be resources, webinars, workshops for families, just to prepare before summer so that we can always have these safety guidelines for families, or help teach new methods to implementing safety guidelines towards their household. This month I completed a Texas Health and Human Service Commission training that certified me as an application assistant manager. This means that I could further assist the families in applying for Medicaid or receiving additional services through Medicaid. I also completed an interview with the Texas Council of Developmental Disabilities. This application for this interview was vetted by the state, and the interview was conducted. Our previous contractor, which was Dawn from Family Support and Community Resources, referred me to this South Texas Region Council. And I'm happy to announce that out of the 400 applicants, 77 were chosen, and I was given the opportunity to represent our South Texas region for the Texas Council of Developmental Disabilities in Austin, Texas.
Congratulations.
Nice job.
Thank you. And that is my report.
Mr. Chair, permission to ask Christine something?
Absolutely, you don't need to ask permission.
Thank you. Ms. Shayes, you always bring us a lot of information. You talk about resources that are technology based. I was thinking about the valuable webinars you spoke of and was wondering if it is in a form of a link whereby the webinar is recorded and we could gain access online. And if so, y'all know where I'm going with this. Could we add it to our resource page online?
From the previous webinars and workshops, we've never done a recording, but that is an option I can put into the proposal to see if I have permission to record and then be able to upload them through our YouTube account.
Because we're constantly building the resource page of the City of Laredo Committee for People with Disabilities, and you always bring us a lot of resources, and really for all of the members, if you have anything to share, because each one of you brings so much to our committee. If you have anything that maybe we could add to the resource page, it would be good for everyone. So thank you ahead of time.
Thank you. Yes, I'll go ahead and work on it.
Thank you, Christine. Through the COVID, if not for you, we would have just sat here and looked at each other. So thank you for continuing to provide that information for us. Next item is the review and update on services for people with disabilities, and if there are any other new or additional services as a result in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So if you all have any information regarding any new services that are being provided to individuals with disabilities or services that may have been implemented since COVID, now it's restarting again.
Just really information for our director, we do have vaccine available here at our clinic. Of course, the demand has diminished a little bit, but we do have availability. People are able to walk in and request the vaccine, and now 12 and over are eligible. So we do encourage them to take advantage, especially now with the new variants coming up and school, coming up and maybe in person. So if they are eligible for the vaccine, we strongly encourage it.
Thank you. So if no one else has anything else to say, let's move on to letter C, which is discuss city ordinance number 20180-050. That's the re-implementation of the face-to-face committee meetings. Apparently while COVID was going on, the city council met, and that there's some other committees that meet, and it was brought up that many of them were not meeting, etc. So So the requirement to, the requirement's always been there, we just have been able to, or requested flexibility with a face-to-face. And so we're just placing it here again, just to make sure that everybody understands that for the most part, you are required to, for you to receive credit for being here, okay, we need you to be here face-to-face. I just asked Erica, what about this, when you all can't be here and you call in by phone? So are they gonna provide some degree of flexibility or not? We still don't know. Okay, so city council has not ultimately made that final decision about whether or not your presence will be counted even if you're on a phone line. So we don't know yet. Is that correct, Erica?
Correct. As I explained to Mr. Chair, is pre-COVID, there was some clarification from the from city secretary and management that members could phone in and it would be counted towards quorum. Of course, again, a lot of things have changed with COVID, and we're just waiting for specific guidance. Of course, they are strongly encouraging in person, and we don't know if there's a limitation in the number of participants or members that can be phoning in. So we are going to reach out to city secretary to get clarification on that, and we should expect to have an answer for next meeting.
Erica, do you know if they're really looking into it? Because I attended the city council meeting, I think 2 Mondays ago, and one member was on the via phone.
And WebEx,
Yeah.
So,
And I know I know it has to be discussed further up. I know this is a new norm, so I don't know if they have to really look into it and say maybe you can attend so many virtuals and so many face to face.
right, and there is
hybrid.
a
Yeah.
degree of guidance with the local government and the municipality, but also we need to abide by the Open Meetings Act. So we also need to refer it to the state level to see what their guidance is. We would have to do that.
So I remember there used to be a Open Meetings Act required that there be a quorum. The quorum had to be made of people within present, and then the add-ons could come beyond electronically by phone, and that would be allowed. But you couldn't have you could not have a meeting with, and make quorum with 2 or 3 individuals on the phone, because they were like, well, then the public, when they come to the meeting, what are they gonna see, just 2 people, 3 individuals? And so, I know that in the open meetings, you are required to have at least quorum made up with live individuals who are present, and then the others, but, okay, this is city council, so I don't know exactly what their expectations would be. So anyway, we're gonna find, if we can identify what clarification regarding how they're going to handle, electronic or phone-in attendance. So we don't know yet. The next item is recommend the removal of members not meeting the attendance requirements. I'm placing this because part of that same ordinance indicates that, you're only allowed 4 absences per year, okay? And so and again, we're playing with, so does that count against you or not against you if you're on the phone? We don't know that, okay? But the bottom line is they're saying you can't be absent more than 4 times, excuse or unexcused, that doesn't matter, okay? So I put this here because, and I had said discussion and possible action to recommend the removal of, okay, members not meeting the attendance requirement. As a committee, we don't have the power to remove somebody from this committee, but we have the power to recommend it to city council. And I think that we're at a point where at least one of our members has expressed that they will not be able to commit because of their responsibilities, okay, on a regular basis. So I think that if we want to replace that individual or that slot, we have to make a decision whether we want to recommend to city council that it's time for them to provide us with with an additional name, or the way it's been done before. I'm trying to remember how we, because we all were not appointed by city council, right?
Right, you're a mayor appointed committee, and just to provide further clarification, the fact that it's written in the ordinance about it used to be 3, they extended it to 4 absences within the calendar year. There really, like Mr. Chair has mentioned, no, power of the committee to provide any type of recommendation. So after the 4 absences within the calendar year, it's automatic. So, just sharing that with you, that comes from our city attorney, our city secretary, and then management during the meeting 2 months ago did reinforce that, and we presented the ordinance to all the members, because yes, it's written in the ordinance, so it's automatic. And really, we don't need anything in writing or anything like that, so. In terms of recommending new members, I know in the past, there has been recommendations within the committee of certain individuals that would contribute to your mission. So that's something that we can relay back to the mayor, and if the recommendation is approved for a new member, we can go ahead and have them fill out the application. And if there's no conflict of interest, or they, all of that is in line, then they would be appointed to the committee.
Okay. So we're in the 6th month, 7th month of the year. Take into account that some members have been absent several times from this calendar year till now. Okay, so be conscientious of that. I don't know if we can get an attendance roster,
Paula has it.
and so if we could do that, that would clarify to everybody where we stand, we hear where you stand. And make sure that, because they didn't, this reinforcement of the ordinance did not start in January, right? It started like 2 months ago?
Yeah, we met with them about 2 months ago, but again, that ordinance has been in place since about 2018.
So is it effective starting January 1st of this year? Or are they enforcing it effective the day they met and said, okay, from now on, we're gonna do this?
They just said the 4 absences within the calendar year. At this point, if we have special circumstances within the members of this committee, we can go ahead and relay that information to city attorneys and to the mayor.
I have a question. Who can we verify? Because actually I was going through the meetings that we have here, and I see that I have 3 absences, but I'm almost sure that I might have only 2, so how can we verify? Or maybe with a virtual, or are we supposed to sign in or make a note, or who?
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't take a sign-in for the WebExes. I can go back into the system to see if there's a way to confirm attendance, and we can do so that way, because I believe we had an issue also with those that phoned in instead of logged in. But that's something that when Paola brings the log, we can maybe look into that.
And, because I know I
Ms.
have
Erica,
that.
when was the last time that we did this meeting by Zoom? I don't recall. What month was it? I don't remember.
I know there was one that was canceled. I'm not sure, but I went back and I saw it, said, I know that I don't have 3 absences.
We've only had one face-to-face prior to this.
Right.
Just the last
Oh,
The
that's
last
right.
one.
I was
That's
told
right.
that's one.
So your last one would have been in May.
Mental, yeah, so this is the second, actually, face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think it would be, my opinion, bring it up to committee, that maybe we can have, okay, I don't usually if it's open record or not, yeah, I would like to know when I come, how many to be now, because I forget. Oh, okay, I'm already in
I
three.
went by what it says here in attendance and absences,
Maybe
and
give
I
us a
said,
little cheat sheet, you've been there 3 times. Bring a parent note.
put it right alert.
But
Because I went back to these meetings and I see that it says my name on your absent 3 times and.
Oh, you had the names are there?
Yeah,
On the
I
card?
think whoever was in attendance and the ones that were not, and I'm pretty sure,
I
maybe
at the very top,
she might have
like here you were there.
Oh, yes.
And
I
then-
don't know, they iba a hybrid in
No, no, it's in the beginning.
Now I'll check all the time that I'm there and all the virtual. But we're virtual until May.
March, I was not there.
And I don't
I don't know where I was in March.
Everyone's
but I
doing
was
that
there.
virtual. That's the new trend.
Or a hybrid.
A hybrid, I mean, a hybrid, yeah.
We didn't have a February meeting?
I know there was one that was canceled.
I guess it was February?
I guess it was February.
So some of you need to meet me after class. Just to let you know.
call your name.
You have to stay up to the office.
You know what I suggested, maybe we should do roll
She
call.
had been present, and then Mr. Garza, I think he phoned in.
Well, the roll call is at the top of the minutes.
Yeah, it's there, like it's up here.
But
But for example,
people do need to check it
Yeah.
because sometimes.
Yeah,
I-
you know,
I
yeah,
just
you
checked
know.
it, or they came in late at the budget.
Okay, we can never really do roll call. That's what we do.
Sure, obviously last time I was,
Now I'm checking all the time.
And I know once I had been, but this was like last, when we were face to face, I don't know, I guess I got here later.
And I think it's going to affect since they met, he said from Tuesday forward, that we're not being.
Like we do, you know, with email.
I'm here.
Does it
or-
have to be
because I'm
you,
pretty sure
or can it be an Elias?
I do it's virtual.
Like he's asking.
Yeah.
He's like, 'cause, like you all have several, but you're different.
Departments.
And so
Me
I
is
don't
just
really
me.
know if
It's
Because
like,
somebody
okay,
from
can
the
we send
district.
somebody else? Like,
Yes.
it's like, can you have two representatives? So I asked, well, I sent her an email yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Remember
yeah,
that's how we
that's a good
discussed,
point.
they wanted one representative from the
I mean, I know
department.
that if there's a vote, they can't vote, but can they still come as you are as president?
Yes, like, he said if it's just the district, you know, cause he wanted to change to another supervisor.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, that's.
But you have to be a
So
member.
some of you are like in
voting.
super hot water and some of you You want me to
You're in the
pass this-
red,
You want me to
Jackie.
pass this around?
No.
Well, let us know.
Honestly, no.
Let me know if guys can come
Yeah.
next time or not.
That's what mine.
Text me.
So we need clarification because some of you do have 4 or more. So I need clarification about what do we do? What action do you want? What's it? So we can find out if they wanna make it effective going back January 1st, or can we do it starting, enforce it starting
When we
May or
had the
whenever?
meeting,
The meeting.
Okay.
Noting it down.
We'll meet with you after the meeting.
I'm waiting.
Maybe, Paula, can I ask you a favor? Not now, but later on today, can you look at their absences and just send them a text or an email saying, telling them, you've got so many?
Yeah.
Okay,
Look at
or you can send this to spike out everybody else.
Okay.
I have my HIPAA thing going on here.
No, hombre.
Private.
Okay, so we know where we are. Okay.
You know, another thing maybe they need to ask, Eric, I'm not sure, is that, we're gonna practice social distance in our meetings, or?
Apparently not.
Because there are a lot of people in here, and with this virus really coming in strong, it's,
That room that Paola did for us last time, right, it was,
It's a little quicker, yes.
I don't know, we have a conference room over there, like we had a training one time, I remember.
Cállate, they're gonna put you outside the picnic table
Oh,
con el sol.
It's open air.
I mean, you're welcome to come in, but it's gonna be just more crowded than this.
Oh.
yeah.
And the reason that we would continue to hold meetings here is because, we did move forward with securing the equipment, and technology to do the, filming. So once that's in place, all committee meetings would be held
Oh, this
here
is a
rather
perfect
than,
location.
yeah.
This is excellent. spot.
But I mean, I would encourage the masks, if you're not vaccinated, hand washing, we have sanitizer for you guys, so we are, Paola did come in with the Lysol right before the meeting, so we did wipe down the table, so we're still.
Thank you, Paola.
Thank
You have to
We
do
still
that all the
have
time.
extensive practices in But sure, we'll go ahead and mention it as well to see if there's like a person limit or what that means for the committee.
Attach all of it to the streams of
To
the.
the Maki authority.
For the board meeting, we can have to log in.
Okay.
Hybrid.
The last one is an item that, I don't know if you all were present when I brought this for discussion. Years ago, I remember that there used to be a resource manual. I don't know who used to publish it, who used to put it together, but I remember when I was at board, I used to get calls every year from someone. They would tell me, okay, let me know what new programs you have and what new funding and any of the eligibility
Criteria.
criteria change and they would ask, and then last time I was here, I asked you all who are more in the group of how things operate within the community, okay? If you all knew a resource manual that existed for individuals with disabilities, and it's not only people with disabilities, it's just whoever has services, they just provide them, whether it's the school district, whether it's you guys, whether it's Border, it's Gateway, it's the orphanage, it doesn't matter who it is,
Community
okay, just
resources.
everything, so if you need services, you can page through it and say, okay, look, this is it, and this is the requirements.
Mr. Chair, the state requires each school district to have that kind of manual and to have communication within the community of services available through the school. I know that.
Yeah.
Operation Child Find.
I remember the manual used to be put together by someone, it wasn't the school district, it
Oh,
was
because
someone
United
else.
Way. United Way, United Way,
You
Liz
think
would
it's
call.
United Way?
Yes, because Liz would call all the agencies.
Does that manual still exist?
I don't think they've done another one that I know of.
We
I
can reach out to
And
Peggy.
the reason was because the other day I was having a discussion with one of you here, and we're talking about community resources. And our
Yeah,
point
because
was
Liz is in
that
charge of the.
we all know, that we all know what resources are available, et cetera, right? And so I asked, I said, well, don't we have a manual still? And it's like, what manual? Nobody seems to know, but I remember of its existence, and so I don't know who used to do that. If it's already in existence and being updated annually, that's great. We don't have to do it. But my impression was, well, we are a committee put together by the city so that we can guide people with disabilities as to what resources are available, et cetera, but yet we don't, other than what we have on our website, and thanks to Dr. Ruth Inger, who's very strict about making sure that we put everything that we can find. But I think if it's not available, is it something that we want to look at or work together in collaboration or with
The only downside there is that if we're gonna publish a little booklet, a resource booklet on behalf of the committee, I think that's a very good thing. However, we need to establish a funding source for the booklet. I don't know if perhaps somebody knows, or should we research to see if there's a grant we can write to secure, if there's a state grant, in order to secure the publishing of that kind of manual, or, some of you on the committee, actually are from San Antonio, different places. Are you aware of a manual, and if so, where did they, get the funding?
You mean for the printing, or the materials?
For the actual printing and publishing of it?
I know whenever we've published some things, there is a business that does it sometimes, gives it as a donation.
Yes.
So we could probably reach out to those printers, and I know there's someone on our board that does all the, designs, or, the listing, or how we're going to. I could reach out to them once we decide if it is what we're going to do.
Yeah, even the schools, like United South has that graphic design,
Ándale.
and they do a lot of volunteer work, right? So the
Putting
kids
it
can
together.
gain the experience, and it's a win-win. And then you give a donation if you'd like or something.
To the
So I'm
group.
sure we can find the resources to do it.
Once, it's
I wonder if
decided.
we could do it, with like the chamber. They have all this information for people coming into town. Maybe they have some kind of funding source. I'm trying to think of possible funding sources, because as a committee, we don't have funding.
Right. Mr. Net, you were gonna say
I
something?
just, not to be Debbie Downer, but I just think the idea is a little antiquated in terms
Well,
of,
yeah, I know what you mean, I'm saying manual, but it could be electronic.
It's electronic,
Yeah.
I agree, totally agree
I
with
think that, there's a couple of issues with that. I agree with Dr. Ruth that the publishing is the first thing. It's not media, printing and publishing is not cheap. Especially if you want it for mass quantities, which you do because you're looking at the community. But the other thing is the manpower to keep it updated is always a challenge. I know for us, we refer to the 211, which is the essential community services, and you just basically tell them what you need. I need help with housing.
Who was that? I couldn't hear you very well. I'm sorry. Who was that?
It's
So
Mr. Net.
the 211
Oh, okay.
essential community services, if you call them and just say, I need help with my rent, I need help with money, my husband's abusing me, where do I go, where can I call, what can I do,
But
and
isn't
it's
211
all
also operated by
listed.
the United Way?
Yes, they're
Yes.
housed there.
And so they
So-
manage
so-
that and they
I
keep
think
that
Liz might
updated.
have a listing, cause she's always been doing that. I'm sure that they have it already. I don't know if they've updated it.
Can you ask?
I know they even have like little
Because if they have it
bookmarks
already,
that say
that's fine.
211.
It was just my curiosity because I remember years ago there used to be an actual manual, and so when the discussion like went in
Yeah, we used to
several
have
weeks
one
ago or
too.
months ago,
They
and
don't.
we discussed about community resources, it was like, well, where's the manual? What manual? I said, well, there used to be a manual. There used to be like a manual that somebody
In the
used to teach me.
1950s.
I might still have one in my office. I remember that.
Some people don't have access.
It's kind of like the phone books.
It's like
they don't
if you
exist
show
anymore.
a
Or they
19-year-old
always
phone
believe
book.
that they.
What is
Oh,
it?
yes.
You know,
We've
they
gotta
don't-
be-
And
if you
if
just Google
there's
it.
such a document exists, okay, and it's already, it's already within United Way, maybe they'd be willing for us, allow us to post it on our website.
Yeah.
Because there may be, have a heck of a lot more information that we can ever dig up, because I know,
But they have like, 22 agencies, right?
Yeah, they may have a
Yeah.
QR code or maybe a link
They maybe add a link to a
that you
resource.
could go and you could
Just click on it.
manipulate that to get the assistance you
But it can
need.
be just read only for us and for the people, and they can keep it updated and it'll automatically
Oh,
refer it.
they did United
Yeah.
Way when we were out of here.
I think it's a brilliant idea,
Yeah.
Oh, that's Liz.
because I do use 211 a lot. I call,
Yes,
yeah.
all the
Because she
time.
was the one that would call us every
Yeah.
year. and then
Anything we
email
don't
any
provide,
changes or
we call.
updates.
All that.
Maybe
so that's who used to call.
Mostly
That's
like
Where
rent
we used to
and
call, I just
stuff.
remember I used to get a
Yeah, it
call.
wasn't that way when I was
That's
making
called-
money.
you
I had a
find
hundred
out
and
it's
four.
all
Yeah, send me updates,
Send it
it's
to
a
the
budget,
school.
when
Like,
it's
maybe
in
it was
time,
United Way, Mr.
Yeah, I know Liz would always call.
Okay, so.
And up until last year, I think every 2 years they updated.
Yeah, they're pretty updated.
I'll check with her,
Okay,
and if they
They
have
have to
some,
have
I'll
it.
try to see if I can get some.
Which is
I know
a
they always
legal
give
one.
it to us.
Yeah, that was good.
That always give
me, oh, this committee and that committee and this place and that. Cool.
Mental health and
Yeah.
just
everything.
because
It's good to have, you know,
Yeah.
so we know the
I'm
resources.
antiquated, I still want to.
I want the paper.
I want a hard copy.
No, but you're right, like you said, Alana, some folks may not have access to, you know.
It's hard to let go of the hard copy.
Yeah, it
And one of
is.
my grants, I would refer to them, and then Addie said, no, they're all gonna go on the public file now. It took me a while to let go.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ms. Otto, you're like,
Yeah.
She's on it.
Alright.
you're gonna do that for us, thank you. And Jen, thank you for the recommendation, because I was already retreating back to.
Okay, guys, let's do this way.
Oh, it's gonna be electronic.
No, that's good.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
Okay, I don't feel that bad anymore, because I was getting crushed there for a while. Anyway, you're
Christine,
good.
do you know of anything?
As far as when clients do call in new and existing clients, I do have a number from our caseworkers that provide the 211. Unless they are under an insurance, then we help them through the provider service. and the provider service does give us the direction of where to
Depending what the need is, yeah.
See, the reason why I'm asking this is I remember that case managers used to do that. They used to have the booklet and they would use it when their clients came in and they needed some resources, okay? But you know very well that sometimes people are not as explorative as others, okay? And so they have no clue where to look for those resources, okay? And so Manual would probably facilitate like, okay, well, I didn't know that they had that, and I didn't know they had this was available. So if you don't know they exist, then how are you gonna research for it? Unless you have a specific need for your client that you're gonna research, then you would find it, you would research it, as I was saying. But there may be other resources that are available that could be beneficial to the client or the people that we serve, and yet we don't know about it because we haven't thought about it, okay? We didn't know it existed. Okay.
Also, each one of us lives in our own little, rehab world. And sometimes the interconnectedness is not there, like if we don't share information.
True.
I think a booklet is a great idea.
They're trying booklet.
Electronic.
Yes, but
It's
we've
booklet.
had where some clients do call in and they're looking for a specific service, like for instance, the one I explained, like driving classes for individuals with developmental disabilities. We don't have that yet here in Laredo, so they have us refer someone outside of like San Antonio. So sometimes we do get calls on specific resources that an individual's looking for. And if we don't have it here locally, they do give us information to refer them out or give them the information to call out. But so far, from the clients, from all the information that I've gotten during the pandemic and power outages, majority of them were looking for food resources, looking for medical equipment, things of that sort. So we were able to refer them here locally with other organizations and create that partnership, or connecting them with the South Texas Developmental Council to get these equipment and resources that they might have needed. So whether it be from the state, we've also connected with partners locally to connect the individuals with that resource.
On their webpage, United Way does have agencies, and then it has food and shelter, and then it lists Bethany House, Casa Misericordia, Salvation Army, SCAN, Health and Safety, and it'll list. But let me click on the link.
It sounds like the list that Women's City Club helps every year.
Yeah,
There is
that's
a
it.
list.
And then I clicked, like, let's say for Health and Safety, I clicked on Ruth Picao, and then you have like a short video of Ruth Picao, and then the phone number, address, and what it does, and then the link to Ruth Picao, to their webpage.
Does it have anything about the 211 maybe?
See, I asked Christine because Christine says you bring a lot of information to the meetings, and so that's how come I asked you last meeting. I said, so where do you go to, where do you do your research? And you said, well, I collect it and then I put it in my own little address book.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, nobody has a,
Our case manager, this
Yeah.
she's kind of not a binder, but she has it on her, Facebook
And
or
this
whatever.
third, yeah.
She starts collecting information.
That's how the social worker does it, they just keep it
Social worker.
updated,
Yeah.
they call people.
okay, so Ms. Saro will look for that. If you need to, you just do the research from afar. Okay. Item number 5 is, are there any announcements? No?
Well, I have one for Women's City Club as a fundraiser. It's going to be a loteria on the 27th of August. It's a month away. But if anybody's interested, it's $50 a little loteria card, and it's a lot of fun. And it's a fundraiser, and that list of community helpers, all the nonprofits or the people that typically all that money goes to every year. So if anybody's interested, just let me know, please. Thanks.
Thank you. No other announcements? If not, I need to move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll move to adjourn.
Is someone second it?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, so you are, you can go before.
Wow, good.